Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. Just want to make one last little adjustment. There we go. Ready for today's meditation. Our teacher for this week is Debbie Ford. And I'd like to remind you or invite you to take a good look at Debbie Ford's work. Do a Google search sometime, search for Debbie Ford, see what work there is of hers out there, or maybe just even quotes, Debbie Ford quotes, and you'll find a lot of really, really good work. Debbie Ford's stuff is really amazing. I love diving into it every time I change, like once a year when I change the teacher for the week. Love diving into Debbie Ford's work again. It's like I have forgotten how good her work is. When I get back to it, I am amazed by it all over again. Sunmuddy, very good morning. Marcella, very good morning. It is awesome seeing you here. Hello. All right, let's get into a couple of thoughts from Debbie Ford, which is the theme for our meditation today. She will lead us into our meditation. The first one is, she says, embracing our dark side. That's what she's talking about in today's quotes, today's thoughts. Embracing our dark side gives us a newfound freedom to be with the darkness of others. For when I can love all of me, I will love all of you. Being able to really understand, embrace, have acceptance for the worst parts of ourselves really, really helps us understand the worst parts of the humans around us. We really are just human. We have a spectrum of what it is to be me. I have more than one experience of who I am. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm angry. There's a whole spectrum of what it feels like to be me. And what she's talking about here is embracing all of those, every single one of them. She says, your life will be transformed when you make peace with your shadow. Hey Charlene, good morning, it's good to see you there. Your life will be transformed when you make peace with your shadow. The caterpillar will become a breathtakingly beautiful butterfly. You will no longer have to pretend to be someone you're not. You will no longer have to prove that you are good enough. When you embrace your shadow, you will no longer have to live in fear. Find the gifts of your shadow and you will finally revel in all the glory of your true self. Then you will have the freedom to create the life that you always desired. And in this context, in these terms, shadow, or just the different parts of us, I like to call it, tongue-in-cheek, the worst parts of us. These exist for a reason, and when it comes up within us, when a part of us is triggered and feels dark, there's always a message that tries to get us back to a safe place. It tries to move us away from what it thinks is a bad situation and closer towards safety. And we can learn how to deal with that. We can learn how to listen to that and find, as Debbie Ford says, find the gifts of your shadow. There's always something trying its best to help us survive. Maggie, very good morning. It is good to see you there. Estelle, good morning. Awesome seeing you here today. Right, last one, then we'll get started. The greatest act of courage is to be and to own all of who you are. Without apology, without excuses, without masks to cover the truth of who you are. To be able to look at this whole spectrum of what it means to be me and have acceptance for them all. So if you're ready, that'll be our journey today, is taking a little bit of a look at what are some of the narratives, what are some of the voices, some of the parts that come alive within us when we feel under pressure, when we are somewhat triggered. You can close your eyes and let's float away on today's journey together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached the full height, let all of it go. As you exhale, soften. As you breathe out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders and drop your head. This first phase is called full body breathing. You're inhaling with your whole body rising, and you're exhaling with your whole body falling. And for today's full body breathing, we are invited, those inner parts, those inner voices, those inner narratives, to come and sit and breathe with us. For right now, let's call them inner children. Imagine being like the grade 1 teacher on the carpet, inviting the children to come and sit around her. Come and breathe with me. The examples we'll use today are sadness, anger, fear, but you could really use your own examples. What comes up in you often? And invite these inner children to come and sit with you. Sit on the carpet in front of you and breathe along with you. It is not important that you see them as inner children, but it's helpful to see them as younger versions of you. See if you can form somewhat a picture as your body rises and falls. Can you picture these inner children breathing and their bodies rising and falling along with you? And then often there's a stubbornness. One of the inner children says, I don't want to. And that is totally acceptable too. The examples we will use in today's meditation are sadness, a part of you that feels sad sometimes and speaks in that narrative that is sad. Anger, a part of you that often pops up in anger, speaks in an angry way. And fear, part of you that often feels scared. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch, adjust, and settle down, and we'll invite these inner children to stretch along with us. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward. And roll out your neck muscles. Forward and to the left and forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. And invite these inner children to roll out their shoulders along with you. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards. Big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. And as you release, focus on your spine. Drop your left ear down closer towards your left hip. And then your right ear. Drop it closer towards your right hip. One more big breath in. As you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened into a place of presence as much as we can, we'll now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit in the whole meditation with us, this would be a good place to stop. But if you do, if you're here for the whole meditation, every next inhale will be followed by a breath hold, a short breath hold, which is again followed by a really long, really slow exhale. We'll do the first few together. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body, and as you do, invite softness into every part of your body. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow. Feel your shoulders slowly falling, feel your body slowly softening, and feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting, feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in through your nose, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath only for as long as it feels really easy, followed by a long and slow exhale. big breath as you dive deep into you. You're reminded again that our journey today is with these inner children. As you take your next big breath and dive in, see if you can form a picture of the children sitting on the mat with you. Take your next big breath. The examples we'll be using are sadness, anger, and fear, and you are welcome to change them with your own examples. It could be any of the big emotions you often find yourself struggling to deal with. Our first example is sadness, and we'll invite sadness to speak. With your next big breath as you dive deep into you, I want you to remind yourself of how sadness speaks within you from time to time. What are your thoughts? What are the inner narratives that are on repeat? When something in you feels really sad, how does this speak? Take your next big breath. As sadness speaks, see if you're able to form somewhat of a picture. What would this look like? It's not important, but it's helpful to have something to look at. And I'd love for you to ask a question, to be able to ask sadness a question and just see if the same voice of sadness answers. It's not important that it does, but often it's true. As you take your next big breath and dive deep into you, ask this voice of sadness, what is it that you want for us? What is your deep desire for me? Take your next big breath. think sadness, have gratitude for sadness and her ability to speak up today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. We'll turn our attention to anger. And with your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, remind yourself of how the voice of anger speaks within you. Perhaps you have an example of the last time you felt really angry, really triggered. How did it speak then? What were the words it used? What were the sentences on repeat? And while you listen, while you invite anger to speak, see if you can get a picture of this part of you. How would you describe this part of you? Take your next big breath. After listening and reminding yourself of how anger sometimes speaks within you, I'd love you to be able to ask anger a question. If you're able to get a good look at anger and have an idea of what anger looks like within you, that's helpful, but it's okay if you don't have that picture. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, ask anger this question and see if there's an answer. It's okay if there's not, but often there is. Look at anger and ask this question. What is it that you are afraid will happen? What is it that you are afraid will happen to me? Take your next big breath. Show gratitude for anger, showing up and speaking, sharing. Thank you, anger, for being present. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for speaking. We have one more example, and this one is fear. With your next big breath, As you dive deep into you, remind yourself of how the voice of fear speaks within you. Maybe you can remember the last big trigger you had, the last time you felt really scared. Something in you felt scared. Remind yourself of the thoughts you have while feeling scared. What is the way that fear speaks within you? What words are used? What sentences are repeated? Take your next big breath. And if you can, take a good look at this voice of fear. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, ask a question. It's okay if there's no answer from this voice of fear, but often there is. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, the question is, what is it that you want for us? What is your deep desire for me? Take your next big breath. Thank fear for being brave enough to speak today. Thank you, fear, for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together. And again, if these inner children want to, they can sit and breathe along with us. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, soften. Make it the longest, slowest softening exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, invite softness into every fiber of your being. One more big breath in and hold. yourself slip all the way through. No more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back or lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. I'll share with you again Debbie Ford's words on dealing with these parts of us. In her examples, it's called our dark side or shadow, but it's the same as all the parts of us that are sometimes triggered. She says, embracing our dark side gives us a newfound freedom to be with the darkness in others. For when I can love all of me, I will love all of you. Your life will be transformed when you make peace with your shadow. The caterpillar will become a breathtakingly beautiful butterfly. You will no longer have to pretend to be someone you're not. You will no longer have to prove that you're good enough. When you embrace your shadow, you will no longer have to live in fear. Find the gifts of your shadow and you will finally revel in all the glory of your true self. Find the gifts of your shadow and you will finally revel in all the glory of your true self. The greatest act of courage is to be and to own all of who you are, without apology, without excuses, without masks to cover the truth. For a moment, again, take a look at these inner children on the mat with you. Today's examples were sadness, anger, and fear, but it could be any of your own examples. The realization or reminder that what speaks within us in these ways always has a message. And the message is always, here's what I'm scared will happen. And I'm trying to move you away from what I'm scared of. I'm trying to move you towards what I think is safe. When you understand that every part of you has only ever been doing their best to try and get you to survive, then it becomes much easier to have acceptance for every part of you. Then you find yourself able to hold every part of you, to stop trying to abandon and reject any part of you. But here's the most important part of this. When you're able to listen to these inner voices, these inner children, when you're able to hold this space to let them speak, when you're able to ask the question, what is it that you are afraid will happen? Now, who are you being? You're not being sadness while you're listening to sadness. You're not being anger while you're listening to anger. You're not being fear while you're able to sit and listen to fear. When you have the ability to hold these parts of you, who are you being? There could be many ways to describe this. You're a higher self, you're a soul, you're being your own inner wisdom, whatever ways we want to describe this in. This clearly is the strongest version of you. The more you're able sit with the shadow parts of you, the more you are practicing being the strongest part of you. And the more you practice this, the more you start living as the strongest part of you. Step into your soul as often as you can, and you'll find yourself acting from your soul. We have the last 5 breaths of gratitude to do together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say your own. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for these inner children that were willing to sit on the mat with us today. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for these inner children that were willing to speak and share their narrative today. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for being able to find the part of me that can listen. The part of me that can hold a space for the triggered parts to speak. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for learning how to become this wiser, stronger part of me more and more. Thank you for learning how to step into my soul and be the expression of my soul. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for going on a journey with your own inner voices, own inner children today. Simone, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Estelle. Thank you, Sunmany. Thank you, Maggie. It's a very simple process that doesn't always feel nice. Certainly doesn't always feel easy. But when you're able to be in this space where you can allow the triggered part of you to just speak, the simplest exercise is to imagine you're listening to another human being and you're telling this person, you can just talk and I'll write down your words. And we can actually very easily do that for ourselves. If sadness in me feels really triggered, I can say, hey, you speak, and I'll just write down what you say. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Leshna. And every time we really listen to our triggered parts speaking, we find that what they're trying to do is protect. They're trying to move us away from what feels scary and towards what feels safe. Thank you, Nella. Good morning. But here is the magic of this. Every time you do this, the question is, who are you being? It's not that we have to follow the directions of our scared parts. It is, who am I being while I'm able to listen to my scared parts? And the more often I do this, the more this is who I'm practicing being. I'm practicing being the strong version of me. I'm practicing stepping into my soul and listening from there. And the more I do that, the more I start acting from that place. The more I take every waking step from the strength that is my soul. Lots of love to you all. Have an awesome day. And I'll see you again soon. Ciao, ciao.